This is currently the best Game Boy Color backlight mod to date. And the reason is 2 words, OLED and touchscreen. Well, that's 4, but you get the point. And I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to install this mod, but first let's go over its features. It has a beautiful drop-in display that is laminated so there's no dust or misalignment with the screen. And the display is 25% larger than the original. To use the touch features, press and hold the bottom of the display for a few seconds and it pops open the on-screen display menu. Here is where you can adjust all the display settings such as brightness, color modes, alignment, and more. You can swipe up and down to adjust more setting options. To close the menu, simply press and hold the center of the display. To install the kit, you need a working Game Boy Color motherboard. If you don't already know how to disassemble a Game Boy Color, I'll link a video tutorial in the description. You also need a soldering iron to solder one wire, as well as an IPS-ready Game Boy Color shell. That way you don't have to trim anything. The Funny Playing shells work just fine for this. So this kit comes with everything on screen, as well as tri-wing and Phillips head screwdrivers that aren't on screen right now. I will link this kit and all the parts I use or recommend in the description below. So now it's time to install. First, peel off the paper from the adhesive and grab the pre-trimmed shell. You want to slide the display in just like this, and then press around the edges just to make sure it adheres well. Now let's grab that PCB and drop it into the back of the display. And it has a connector that folds right over. Make sure not to be too forceful with it, but once it's in place, you should feel it pop in securely. And before soldering the wire, I'm going to tin the pads to make it a smooth process. I'm going for the pad labeled C on the power switch, and then BAT on the driver board. And then get that wire soldered into place. Now you want to fold over the ribbon cable and insert it into the connector on the Game Boy Color motherboard. This cable is fragile, so make sure not to be too rough with it. Ensure that the ribbon cable is inserted all the way so that there's a good connection to the Game Boy Color motherboard before pressing down the 2 bells on either side of the connector to lock it into place. To prevent any shorts, I'm going to place the insulating film over the top of the display and PCB, as well as placing some Kapton tape that comes with the kit over the cartridge reader pins just for good measure. The hard part is finally done, so now would be a great time to test the kit and make sure it powers on, but I'm going to go ahead and fully assemble it regardless. And this process is basically the opposite of disassembling your Game Boy Color. Purchase your OLED touchscreen display at vetrogaming.com.